Parents, attend to your children's upbringing. A homily on the occasion of the Nativity of the Theotokos by Bishop Augustine, Metropolitan of Florina, Greece. The heavenly fruit of reverent parents. On the 8th of September, our church invites us to honor one person. Who is this person? Is it a confessor or martyr who proclaimed the name of Christ during fierce persecutions? Or perhaps it is a teacher or father of the church, one of those who shone like stars in the heavens. Is it St. John the Forerunner, or one of the angels or archangels? No, it is another individual who is above and beyond all of the people who were born here on earth. She is our most holy Theotokos. Has a woman reached up unto such heights so that she is above the saints, martyrs, confessors, angels, and archangels? Yes. 2 women are worthy of commemoration on 2 very different sides. If you want to see to what abyss a woman can fall and drag down with her the entire race of man, then see Eve. And if again you want to see what enormous heights one woman can reach, high above the clouds, above galaxies, above the stars, then see our Panagia. Side note, Panagia is a Greek title of honorable endearment for the Virgin Mary. It literally means the All-Holy One. She is also dogmatically called Theotokos, meaning the birth giver of God. The one down in the depths, the other to the unfathomable heights. O women, either you will become the one or the other. Either you will be Eves or small Panagias. If you are Eves, disaster to mankind. If you are little Panagias, oh joy and delight for the world. Our Panagia was born in the natural way, just like we are born, weighed down by the ancestral sin. Who were her parents? The parents of the Panagia were very reverent people. Her father's name was Joachim, and her mother's name was Anna. They were a very beloved couple. They had God dwelling inside themselves. Joachim and Anna had great sorrow, however, because they had no child. And when a child is absent from a home, there is no other good thing that can take the place of this gift of God. These were mournful parents. The years passed. They reached old age. They didn't stop begging God with tears to give them a child. And God heard their prayer. Prayer has enormous strength. Prayer can lower the stars to earth, and prayer can raise up the earth to heaven. Yes, what is impossible with men is possible with God. Anna, in her great old age, conceived and gave birth to a beautiful girl who received the sweetest name, which is known to the entire world and in all of Christendom. She received the name Maria. The parents of the most holy Theotokos glorified God with joy and delight for the child that was born. From the moment that Maria was born, her parents felt very heavily for their responsibility for her upbringing. They tried with all their strength to plant inside her heart the name of God. They struggled and labored, and together with milk, Maria was fed with reverence and love for God. And when she became a little older, they dedicated her to God, a rare phenomenon to mankind. A great dedication. Many come and make donations in churches. They dedicate icons, light candles, etc. These are small gifts. A great thing would be to dedicate not icons and money, but to dedicate one of your children to God. However, now not only do they never dedicate their child, but if the mother hears that one of her children goes to God and loves God more than anything, what insults, pressures, and curses must the priests, teachers, and bishops endure? Their children must get married. Marriage, marriage, marriage. Nothing over this. Nothing higher than this. And afterwards, 1,000 problems. Drama in the family, divorce, and all that follows. I am not against marriage, far from it. But here we see the big difference. Joachim and Anna had only one little girl, and they took her to the temple, and she stayed there until an archangel was sent from heaven to say to the Theotokos, "Rejoice." Common birth. The history behind this feast day of the birthday of the Most Holy Theotokos teaches us a sacred responsibility. We must attend to our children, just like this blessed couple attended to their only daughter. A child is born in the natural way. This is how God established it, from a male and a female, as we see also in the entire animal kingdom. Not only a human being gives birth, but also a cow, a mule, a chicken. The beast all give birth, the lion and the monkey. All these produce offspring. But what a phenomenal difference! There is an endless abyss of difference between the child that is born from a human mother and all the other offspring of any kind of animal. We cannot deny that animals are made of flesh and bone like human children. The animals are also careful to do everything in order to feed their children and guard them from danger. We have examples of birds like the stork. If her nest catches fire, she will jump into the fire in order to save her young. So much devotion do the birds and all the animals have for their offspring. And if these, that are lacking reason, have such love for their children, how much more love should people, the mothers and the fathers, have for their children? Just as the animals take care to find food for their young, so the father and the mother must attend to the child to have his food, his clothing, and all those things that are needed for his body in order to be able to grow. Training of the child. Yes, parents need to be mindful of all these things. But will we stop here? No. The child does not only have bodily needs, he also has spiritual and ethical needs. To have a child is not a difficult thing. Dogs, cats, wolves, and lions multiply as well. I didn't say it. St. John Chrysostom said it. He says, quote, "When will we call you a father? Not when you have a child, just as the animals have their children, but when you rear a child. I will call you a father when you have succeeded to plant in the soul of your child whatever beautiful and lofty things are in the world, and to root out whatever evil and useless things there might be." End quote. That is the great and difficult task which appertains to men. I will call you a father when you take the child and rear him and prove him by making him a person. You need to free him from the evil ways and passionate weaknesses. In their place you must plant virtues in order for the child to become a new creature, a new person, like the Apostle Paul says in 2 Corinthians 5:17, "There, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation." This is the mission of the parents. Not having the child, but raising him makes you a father. I won't call you a father when you simply keep your child alive, but instead when you rear him in accordance with the will of God. What does this mean? With the simple words, as soon as the little child in the cradle begins to speak, his first word that he should learn is not mommy and daddy. His first word should be Christ. And when he moves his little blessed hands, from very young you should teach him to make the sign of the cross and to say, "Holy God, Holy Mighty," etc. "Lord have mercy," and the Lord's Prayer, the prayers of the Church. When he gets bigger and goes to school, you should buy him a New Testament, and he should read the Gospel day and night. When night falls, along with your wife, take your little child and go under the stars and say your prayers together. When the bells ring on Sunday, you should go as a family to church. You must attend church with your child. You should keep him close to you in church with his hands crossed, and don't allow him to run around as if he is in a field. When Pascha is approaching and the other great feast days, you should take him to confession to the spiritual father to say his sins and to commune the immaculate mysteries. You must be careful in your own life in order to give him a good example. No inappropriate words should escape your mouth, no blasphemy, and no arguments with your wife. Your house should be a blessed place. You should make it like a church. These things you should do as a father. From ancient times, people gave great attention to the matter of raising their children. Especially in Greece, our fatherland, if it gave birth to and raised up great heroes and important men, it is because there was great attention given to the rearing and the discipline of the children. We see it in the oracle at Delphi. It was written in golden letters in ancient Greek, quote, "The foundation of civilization is the upbringing of children," end quote. This was understood well by one of our own lawyers, Lycurgus, who founded a society that was falling apart and took on the great task to correct it. As his first measure, he took on the correction of the family, the raising of children. One day he called all the people of Sparta to the city square, and they were waiting for him to teach them. He taught them not with words, but with an example. He brought with him 2 little dogs, and in front of him placed a plate of steaming, appetizing food. At the same time, he opened a cage which let out a rabbit. What did the dogs do? One of the dogs immediately jumped at the food and was devouring it, while the other dog paid no attention whatsoever to the food and began to eagerly chase the rabbit. It was a strange sight. Lycurgus then said to the people, "Do you see the 2 dogs? The one and the same mother gave birth to them. The one little dog, however, from an age would go to the butcher's shop and eat meat and bones, and it became gluttonous. The other little dog was taken by a hunter to the mountains and prairies and learned to hunt. The same mother gave birth to them, but one upbringing was given to the one and another upbringing to the other. From this you must understand, the children here in Sparta, if they get a good upbringing, will glorify our society. If they are reared in a bad way, they will be useless children and a danger to our society." They listened to Lycurgus and reared their children with great discipline. After this kind of upbringing and those great measures taken, those children became the great heroes of Thermopylae. They are the ones that said, when they were surrounded and commanded to surrender, "If you dare, come and take it." Preferences of today's parents. Christ gave even greater emphasis to the upbringing of children when he taught that parents are indebted to look after their children. The question today is, do parents show interest in their children's upbringing? They do, and they don't. They show interest for the body of the child, for children to eat well. In the old days, in the houses of the poor, the mother would take the little bread that they had made out of barley or corn, and with trembling hands she would divide it up and hand it out like it was andiron. This blessed bread would become butter and meat to the rosy, barefooted children who would then run down the roads full of life. Now the children must eat well, and on Wednesday and Friday, and even Great and Holy Friday. He must eat. He mustn't lack anything. He should eat enough food for 2 or 3 children. We have to dress our child well, putting the best shoes on our child. He must have the best mattress, a good bed, a radio, a television. He must have all the means to a new, comfortable life. These are spoiled children, and so they are only concerned for the bodies of their children. These parents are similar to monkeys. The monkey mother loves her children, but it is an illogical love. She hugs them and squeezes them, and from the amount of squeezing, she chokes them. This is how it is with some parents. From an exaggerated love that knows no punishment or scolding, the children take a wrong direction. Afterwards, these children are useless and dangerous to their homes and even to society. The children are in danger. Never before have the children been in such danger as they are today. What about us? We say that we believe in God, but we have the most immoral society. Children inside this society are in grave danger. Number 1, they are in danger from the publications and printed material of all the different books that are circulating, from comic books to immoral books that are in the backpacks of the children. Number 2, they are in danger from the movie theaters and the television, which presents even dirtier things. Side note, Bishop Augustine gave this teaching before the appearance of social media, internet, violent video games, and cell phones, and etc. Number 3, they are in danger from narcotics and drugs. Has the child taken drugs? Has he opened up his world to spiritual death? And it is even worse than that. He is changed bodily and spiritually, and he becomes thrashed, and you see your child like this as you weep and sigh, all from drugs. And you say, "But I guard my child and keep him far from all that. Glory to God." You are wrong. Your child is taking drugs. Every day he takes drugs. From 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. he is taking drugs. Where is he taking drugs? In your home. Drugs, spiritual drugs, is what is transmitted by the television. Side note, and now also internet. To the little child, it's not only the body that's taking drugs, it's the soul. It's spiritual drugs, and he hears and sees things that are extremely harmful and destructive. This is the drug that 1 million children are being watered with in our country. And unfortunately, no one protests against it, and no one is turning off the TV. It is a terrible thing. The children no longer belong to their family. They are no longer children of this or that school, students of this or that teacher. They are children of the television. That is their great mother, their head teacher, their supreme educator, which spreads its spiritual drugs into the hearts of the children. Who will save the children? What should you as parents do? Who will save your children? Only one person can. Just like when the father of the demon-possessed son brought his child to Christ, and only Christ could heal him, so should you parents who have children bring your little children to Christ before it is too late. You mother, together with your milk that you fed your child, you should feed him also on the milk of our holy faith, Orthodoxy. This first word that you will say to your child should be the word God. Unfortunately, God has stopped being the first word that mothers teach their children. One time when I was traveling around and preaching the word of God, I was walking near a little town. As I approached the town and was walking under a tall wall, I heard evil, blasphemous words coming from someone's mouth. It was the first time in my life that I had heard such blasphemy. I was horrified. I wanted to learn who it was that was saying such things. And as I looked around for him, what did I see? Over that tall wall was a father holding his small, adorable child in his embrace, and was teaching him to blaspheme. It was a terrible thing. When I scolded the father, he became annoyed and started to talk about his ideas. He wanted to make his child from now on an atheist, so that he wouldn't believe the fairy tales that priests and bishops teach. An awful, terrible thing. How wretched it is for small children to hear blasphemies from their youngest age. It is a crime. Christ names this father child killer, who gives a bad example to his children. He names him this because he is murdering his child, killing whatever beautiful and lofty that existed inside the soul of the child. Mother, take your child and kneel in front of the icon of the Panagia. Take his little hand, that little angelic, innocent hand, and teach him to make the sign of the cross. Mother, in this way you will not be forgotten. The child could go to the best universities of Europe and America, and he will forget many things, but you he will not forget. Even if he becomes faithless and an atheist, Still he will remember that blessed hour when his mother put him in front of the Panagia's icon and prayed. Yes, 100 teachers and 100 professors are not worth one mother. Give me mothers like the mothers of our ancestors, and our country would change. The change wouldn't come through plans A or B. The change will come with godly rearing of your children, feeding them with Christian nutrients. You, father, do not waste your time at the coffee houses. Go to your home and take your child aside. Speak to him with love and affection. Show him the good path. Take the gospel and read it together so that it makes its mark on him. Are the bells ringing Sunday morning? Take your family to church. In this way, the image of his father going to church and believing in God will remain very alive in the child's memory. These are the kinds of things we need to do as Christians. We need to give enormous emphasis to the upbringing of the children. We are all responsible, the teachers, the professors, and the priests. First of all, our country is responsible, since now the state is trying to give our children a different education. This is why I told you that our children are in danger. They are in so much danger, and we must be especially careful about this. The church, all of us, we must create a new climate, a new situation amongst people, and programs where our children will be able to breathe oxygen. And the oxygen that the children need to breathe is our holy faith. Just as a person without oxygen dies, so it is that without the oxygen of our faith, a person dies spiritually. Today there is no Christian rearing in the home. Now I will tell you what great value a Christian upbringing is inside the home. I will give you an example. The value of a Christian upbringing. One day 2 children left together from a poor, small village. They were cousins, both 12 years old, poor and barefoot. They left and went to many places. They were kicked around quite a bit through their travels until they finally reached London. They worked in a restaurant. They were hard workers, and suddenly these kids from North Britain started a business for themselves in London. Money was flowing in, but life is like a wheel that turns. Economic crisis came, and these 2, who went to sleep millionaires, woke up the next day poverty-stricken and destitute, barefoot, miserable, and poor. How did they face the situation? One of those 2 kids, who wasn't a kid anymore, went to a bridge over the Thames, threw himself over, and killed himself. He had thought, I have no money, no estate, no home. I have nothing. What do I want with life? And splash, he committed suicide. His cousin, on the other hand, knelt before an icon, crossed himself, and said, My God, my Panagia, help me. And he started over as a simple waiter. He worked, and when he turned 50 years old, he again started his own business. One day a reporter went to this man and said to him, You were 2 men from this same area, and you lost everything, money, businesses, estates. The one went and committed suicide in the Thames. But you, how did you get through all this and recreate your wealth? And he answered, I owe it all to my mother. How do you owe it to your mother? Your mother is so far away. Before I left my village, my mother took me and brought me in front of the holy icons. We knelt, and she said to me, My child, you'll go through many trials in the world. You'll suffer much, but no matter how many, no matter how hard the trials are, never, never should you become hopeless. God is there above you. I remembered the words of my mother. Bishop Augustine finishes by saying, Do you understand how much more important this is than to learn languages, to own houses? All those things can be lost in a second. Plant inside the hearts of your children faith in God. The children will pass through trials and suffering. Some will kill themselves, but as many as have faith in God will not commit suicide, because even if nothing is left in the world, God is still there up above. You must have faith in God. You must plant him in the souls of your children in order to offer the very best service to them. And when you die, they will come to your graves and say, "May you be blessed. You didn't leave us money or houses. You left us greater things. You left us faith in God."